Welcome back to another exciting video, and what we're talking about today is the Yamaha MoDX 8. So as you can see, I bought a MoDX 8, and I was actually going to get a Montage, but after doing a little bit of research, this is literally half the price, including tax. A Montage was going to cost me $4,300. This was about $2,180 after tax, and so there are obviously significant differences between the Montage and the MoDX 8, which is what I'm going to get into. Because this is not so much a demonstration video as it is a pros and cons video. It's more about that. So, but on that note, I am going to run through and kind of talk about a few things here. There is, as you well may know, this is a full synthesizer. And it has some really good piano sounds on it. But from my understanding, this does not have an actual piano engine. And I did read that, and I did not read that from Yamaha, but I was kind of curious about it before I actually ended up buying the unit, if it did have a piano engine in it, like my other Yamaha piano does. And it doesn't quite have that, that aftertouch of when the piano strikes the strings, you get that sound from that you get on an actual piano. My CP does that, and the Nord does that and all that, which has an actual piano engine, but this does not. But still, the pianos are probably 92% of what it is on my CP300 professional stage piano. So this is the CFX Concert Grand here. And I gotta admit, that is not bad. And what you're missing is when you get up here in the higher register, what you hear is the reverb. But you're not getting the actual sound of where the hammer strikes the string. And I kind of like that because it does, simulate what a real piano would sound like. This does not have that. So this is obviously made from, parts of the synth engine. It's got an FM engine, and was it an AW2, I believe? AMW2 engine? Do not hold me to that because I got to be honest. My knowledge of synthesizers is about yay big. My knowledge of pianos is about yay big. A little bit bigger. But no, I know quite a bit more about digital pianos and real pianos than I do about actual synthesizers, because this is my first synth. So on that note, like I said, here is the CFX Concert Grand, which actually does sound really good. So as you can hear, that's actually pretty good. It's not bad, and actually it's a little better than I thought it was going to be after I read that it did not have a piano engine in it. Now, of course, it's got just a ton of pianos in it. If we go to acoustic pianos, and here's a CFX stage, I would probably use this for something a little more poppier sounding. probably something a little more like that. If I'll do something poppy, I'd probably use the CFX Stage for that. And of course, it's got a bunch of layered pianos. This one's really good. This is the CFX Padded 2. That is actually a fantastic sound. And that's usually, now granted I can do that on my CP300 and I do a lot of that stuff on it, but I use a lot of padded stuff on my pianos. Here's a pad on the bottom of it. So I do a lot of that stuff, and I can do that on my my CP300. But there's a lot of other things that I was after besides that, because of the ability to layer 8 different sounds on this, which that I cannot do on my CP. I can only layer 2 sounds at a time, and then I don't have the bevy of sounds that I have on here. There's just bukus of sounds on here. And moving on, you got we got all kinds of keyboards, a lot of EP stuff on here. Here's a this is called a Phase 74. And that's not exactly the sound I would use for that song, but I could build the sound off of that. And that's why one of the reasons why I did buy this is because I do have that option to build sounds and create things. And that's actually a pretty good sound, actually. It's not bad, but it's not quite. I have an EP on my CP300 that actually sounds better than this. And I haven't gone through all these to see what they all sound like, but there's so many different roads in here. I mean, there's just hundreds of them. Yeah, I don't like that. Yeah. And you click the page, and then it just goes down to more and more and more. You can hear it's got a tell on it there. Early 80s disco pop. I guess that would be disco pop. I kind of missed that, thank God. Not that I was not alive. I just hate disco. That's a pretty good sound. Now, that's not exactly the sound I would use for that. I would definitely use an EP piano for that with a slight phase on it. I think that's what Dennis DeYoung used in that song. Do not hold me to that. And like I said, the sounds go on and on and on and on. This one's pretty cool. This is called WR Rock. So let's see, okay, you got all that stuff. You have all these layered different kinds of pianos on here. That one's actually not bad. I do like that. That is a good sound. Layer that on top of a piano, that would actually be pretty good. And okay, now we got a bunch of organs and stuff on here too. Dave's new organ, the jazz organ. I think that's how it goes. Let's see what else we got here. Rock 2 organ. FM rock organ. A lot of distortion on that. I like that. FM full organ. The FM jazz organ. This one's called Lake Fire. Oh yeah, baby. That's pretty good, actually. So yeah, I'm going to spend a lot of time on this, getting this figured out, obviously. So that is the FM church pipes. Those are actually really good. Got an accordion. Kind of sounds like an accordion. Yeah, cool. And let's see. Like I said, you got all kinds of jazz organs and stuff on here. Synth lead. Cool. Let's see. Organs. And you have the categories of everything, and then you've got subcategories. Like right now, I'm in tone wheel, which gives me, obviously, organs that have tone wheels. I'm in a combo organ right now. Gives me combos. Now I'm in pipes. Everything here is some type of pipe. Fluty pipe. Fluty pipe. And you can keep breaking this down. Here we're in synth organs. Flying rhythm bars. Rock pop, they only have the foolish organ in here. That's actually pretty cool. I could probably find a use for that. I'm pretty sure I could. And then, of course, that has a button for all. Pretty good. It's called white organ. I guess it's for whiter shade of pale, because that's pretty much what it sounds like to me. So I'm going to assume that that is correct. That's what that is. All right, now you got 1,000 basses on here. And apparently we got some clicks on this one. And then you got pages of stuff. Matt bass. Johnny bass. There you go. All right, let's see. You got and of course you have subcategories for all that stuff. Also, acoustic basses, electric basses, synth basses, and of course you have pages. Damn, it's good to be a gangster. Damn, it's good to be a gangster. As you can tell, my rapping skills are very, well, they suck. Let's just be honest. Rock basses, so on and so on and so on. You have a string section in here, and actually the strings in here are shockingly good. This one really surprised me. This is the solo first violin. Kind of shocked me how good that was. You got a Celtic violin. You have cellos. You have basses also that come with it. And then, of course, you've got your normal strings. Oh, check this out. Let me find my phone. So when I was on here kind of messing around, getting the ideas on what I was going to do for this video, a lot of times you hear sounds, and the sounds remind you of something. And so I heard this sound, this string sound. I thought, oh, my God, I think that sounds like this song by George Michael. Not that I really know a whole lot of George Michael. But I got to messing around with this. Listen to this. That's the classical strings. Here's the romance strings. Then you have the ballad strings. Seattle sections. A few strings. It's just a few. Rich strings. String swells. And about any other type of damn string you could harp that you could pretty much fathom. But anyway, what I was saying was I was messing around with this, and I came across these are the right strings, these romance strings. And then I started messing around with this George Michael song. I found the chord progression for it because I have no idea how the song goes, but it just kind of reminded me of that. And I could be wrong because I got to be honest, I don't listen to George Michael, but it reminded me of that. And of course, that's what causes you inspiration. When you hear something, reminds you of it, then you start tinkering with it, messing around, and that's what gives you inspiration. But listen to this chord progression. This is absolutely insane. This is a George Michael song. That is absolutely an amazing progression. And I'm glad I found this because I'm actually going to do a segment at one point where I'm talking about progressions. And I'm going to get about amazing song progressions, what they've got, why they've got it that way, so on and so on and so on. And that one's going to be perfect for that. So I'm glad I stumbled onto that. And like Like I said, not a big George Michael fan, but, you know, I'm not going to deny the guy's talent whatsoever because he put out a hell of a lot of hits, and boy, the people sure loved him. So, you know, what can you do? Moving on, you got a lot of brass sections in here. Orchestrated trumpets. Trombones. Attack brass. Pop, you've got, let's see, synth leads. You got a bunch of pad choir stuff in here. These are all pads, of course. And then you've got strings and bells. This is all under the pads and choirs. And I love pads. Pads are fantastic. Warm shivers. Sounds like a warm shiver. Does it not sound like a warm shiver? Heavenly pad. Ambient keys. New groove pad. Obviously it has an arpeggiator on it. And all kinds of stuff. Orient envelope. Obviously it is a synthesizer. You got choir stuff. Let's see. Deep Dreams. Spaced Voices. Let's go to the choir. Here's choir service. Choir. Got gospel. Wow. 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 Could actually have a lot of fun with this. Hey. Hey. Latin vocal. Jazz singers. Boys choir. So obviously you have a lot of stuff like that. Guess that's just the one thing for the vocoder dance. Okay, again, like I said, you got all kinds of sounds. These are the single sounds, by the way. When you see sounds that are in green, it's one layer, it's one thing. When you see sounds that are in blue, there's multiple things going on, as you can tell. All right, moving on from that, you've got your brass section, you got your woodwind, you got ethnic stuff, musical FX. And there's pages of this stuff. Anything you could just about fathom. You got sound effects in here. Flight. I really don't know what that has to do with flight, but quite all right. Galactic static. Creeping voltage. Actually sounds like happy voltage to me. Then, of course, it goes on and on. About whatever you could fathom, you can find in here. It's got a bunch of drum kits. It's actually got an insane amount of drum kits. I wasn't expecting it to have all that. You got chromatic percussive stuff. Let's just go with the Bell Majestic. Typical synth stuff. Here's a xylophone. Orchestra xylophone, which sounds very similar to the FM xylophone. And of course, don't forget, you always got to have a marimba. And I'm sure somebody has a use for that stuff. So moving on from all that stuff, you got basses, pianos, keyboards, organs, strings, brass, musical effects, ethnic stuff, woodwinds, drums, percussion, sound effects. You have chromatic percussions, syncopated composition. I'm assuming what that means. Syncop. I'm assuming syncopated comp. Pads and choirs, synth leads. Then, of course, for every category, you have subcategories to help you find stuff on it. Why am I explaining this to you? You're going to find out here in a minute. And then, of course, you have guitars. Now, one thing about this, I personally think all guitars on synths suck. I've never heard one. I am a guitar player. I've never heard a synth that sounds like a guitar. And what they kept saying is on this thing that the guitars sound actually very, very good. And I found that hard to believe. So I got in here and kind of started messing around with it. I thought, well, you know, that doesn't actually sound all that bad for what it is. But that does not sound like a guitar to me. Not even a little bit does that sound like a guitar to me. I guess that would be okay. So anyway, let's figure out if this thing sounds like a guitar. And then you let me know. By all means, if you watch all this and you hear all these sounds, if you think this sounds like a guitar, let me know, because I'm kind of on the fence with this one. Half of these do not sound like guitars at all, but this one kind of surprised me. So I really don't know if that sounds like a guitar, but that sounds more like a guitar than any other guitar sound I've ever heard on a keyboard. And it's got this, that was called the fingered 12 string. And here's the American 12 string here. I'm just going to play a smidget, a sample of this one. So that actually sounds pretty good to me. Of course, when you're trying to strum these out, that's where it would be just a touch more on the difficult side, trying to strum these things out. To me, that does not sound real, but it has all these acoustic sounds in it that you could probably honestly use in recordings, and nobody would actually know. Then, of course, you got all your electric stuff on your guitars. That does not sound like an electric guitar to me. Neither does that. But you have all of this stuff. Hear how it turns into feedback? That's actually pretty cool. And you can hear the delay that's on it. It's actually pretty cool. And it's got a bunch of that stuff on it. So it's got a tremendous amount of sounds. It has an arpeggiator on it also, which you heard some of that. So, okay, that is my little thing I wanted to do on sounds. Some of the sounds on it are shockingly good. Or is it something that I'm going to use on all the sounds on? Absolutely not, as far as I know. So here we go. I'm not going to sit here and break everything down on this. I wanted to get through the sound section, but I am going to kind of hit some of the things on it. This isn't going to be like a full review. There's thousands of those on YouTube. But I'm going to talk about this compared to the Montage. Now, the reason I did not get the Montage is because the Montage, like I said, is going to cost me another $2,100. And I did not want to spend that amount of money for something that does not have a true piano engine in it. And like I said, that is what I read. And I don't know if that to be true, but from what I can hear with my own ears, and that sounds very good. But I don't know if it just doesn't have those overtones that a piano has in it. And that's what I'm missing. And you really get them up here on the high strings, those overtones, and that's what it's missing. And I'm assuming it doesn't have that because it does not have a true piano engine inside of it. But the sounds are still 92, 94% of what you're going to need every time, guaranteed. And there's a lot of options, and that is very nice. They do have a tremendous amount in there. So I don't know if I could see the justification of spending an extra $2,100 for something that doesn't have a true piano engine in it, considering that I play mostly piano, but I'm working on changing that, getting into the synth world here. And that's something I would rather take that $2,100 since I have this and put it towards like a Nord stage piano, because love it or hate Nords, they just have the best piano sounds, period. The overtones and the way it strikes and the way you can hear the pedals move is just absolutely shocking to me. So I would probably go that route instead of upgrade this to the Montage. But what this is missing as opposed to the Montage, okay, this is plastic. This is a plastic body. Well, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it depends on how careful you are with your gear. I'm extremely careful, so I don't foresee any problems with this. And it is insanely, insanely light. As opposed to my 100-pound CP300, this weighs like 32 pounds, I believe. I mean, it's just crazy light. And so that is a big plus for me to move this around, because I am sick and tired of moving that heavy-ass piano around. So that's going to help a lot. The Montage is a take over 60 pounds, so it's double the weight. It's double the weight because it has the metal casing on it. The controller wheels here are actually here beside the keyboard, which would have been nice. And then it has a plethora of more buttons on it that is added to the extra weight. Plus, the power supply is built into the unit. More on that in a second. And so, it has 8 sliders here instead of 4 sliders. But that's not that big of a deal. I don't know how much of my keyboard you can see here, but you see I have these 4 sliders right here. But if I need to get to the other 4, I just got to hit this button, and that gets me through 4 through 8 by hitting these buttons. And so it's really not a deal breaker between this and the Montage. It's just really not. Now, also, these are the scenes here, and these buttons here, and there again, I don't know. I'm going to turn all of this up so to get this out of the way. And if you get sounds that have multiple things on them, and you can see here, this has one scene button. If you can see this little red button right here, I don't know if you can see it through that. It has one scene on it. That's the super knob. But there's nothing assigned to this particular scene. But if I go to the keyboard and I go to the Road Gallery, and I'm on scene 1. Now, if I go to scene 2, 3, 4, 5, hear the keys? I don't know if you can hear them through my piano. Listen to this. Scene 1. This is scene 5. Listen to this. It is actually made to do that. That is not just the sound of this key bed. This key bed is actually very quiet. That is a sound that is put in here. So that is actually pretty cool. And that's what the scenes do. If you're playing a song and you can actually program it. See, check it out. And it's turning on other sounds. Then you can go in and turn them back off to back to your original sound. And that's actually a pretty nice feature. When you're playing, you can say, I need to tighten up my little microphone here. When you're playing, you can take it, and let's say you've got a sound that just requires a piano, for instance. That would not be a piano, just so you know. That is not a piano. But you need to start adding stuff on that piano. And what it's doing is it's bleeding in an EP on top of it to the point that it's only an EP. Now, granted, you would not use something micro-minimally like that. But let's say you had a piano on one, but you needed to bring a string sound in, and you could actually stick that on scene 2. And when you hit scene 2, it's going to put your string sound on top of your piano. And then let's say you wanted to add a horn section, a real soft horn section. You put that on scene 3, and while you're playing, just reach up and hit the button, and now it's going to add that onto it. And if you need to remove it, you go back to 2. When you go back to your piano, you can just go back to 1. And then, so that's actually a very nice feature that I do like about this. Now, on the Montage, you have all 8 of these buttons laying out. On this, you have 4, and you've got to hit this little button to get from 5 to 8. Again, not a deal breaker for me. For $2,100, it's pretty easy for me to click this damn button, and chances are I'm not going to have a lot of things with more than 4 scenes on it anyway. So you only get the 4 sliders instead of the 8. You get the 4 buttons instead of the 8, but you do have access to 5 through 8 on the sliders and on the buttons. You do have more knobs up here. On the Montage, the knobs are lit so you can see where they're sitting at all times. That is very nice. I do understand that in order to get this to the $19.99 price point, they had to cut some stuff off of it. I get that. This volume knob here, this I can live with. This I can deal with. And of course, you have your assignments right here. You can't see it from where you're sitting, but what this is doing is this is turning, the way this is set up right now, this is my super knob. And it's blending the 2 sounds, kind of like what you can do some of that here, but it's blending the 2 sounds. And that's pretty cool on the synth stuff when you're sitting there, hit it, and you can just really add a resonator into there and just get it just to sound nasty. That's pretty cool. And this is taking it from full to kind of save me the hassle of having to turn it if I do not need a blend at this particular moment. If I just need to go from piano straight to here, click that and I'm there. So on the master knob, though, I do wish that it had the volume slider. And by the way, now I'm into the pros and cons section. I did not really say that, but that's the section that I'm in. And I do wish these knobs are fine, these turning knobs, but for the master, they should have left the damn slider on there, simply because if I'm bringing in a sound, let's go to strings, let's go to bada bing, bada boom, classical strings. Okay, that's great. Much easier to do with the slider. And here's the other thing. If you're going to give me a master volume knob, don't put it on top and beside the other 2 knobs. Put it over here where I have access to it by itself, and I don't have these other knobs in my way. I really don't know what the engineers at Yamaha were thinking, but they obviously did not call me, because I would have set them straight on that right away. Now, you do have obviously the option to use these sliders, which is very nice, because once you have your master set, you don't always want to be twisting and turning on that master once you have it set. You can use these to balance out the sounds, and you can still use them. And you just push it all the way to the top, and your volume is already set where it was at. But they should have left the slider on here. If they're not going to put a slider on it, put the volume knob separate of these other knobs. So if I'm in a hurry and I got to grab it, I need it by itself. They did indicate it with a red marker. Woohoo! The other two are gray, but still, they could have done a better job on that. And like I said, this is comparison stuff, pros and cons comparison. You do have the super knob. Hear it bleed in the higher strings, bleeding in the violins. That is actually pretty cool. Put it in the middle, and you have a blend of both. The super knob is pretty cool. You can adjust the light on, turn it off, leave it blinking, or you can just have it on permanently. That is pretty cool. You've got the sequencer here. I've not messed with that yet. That is going to come up in a future video as I continue to dig into this, because I actually just got this thing here. Now here, all right, Montage compared to MoDX. The MoDX has a bunch of buttons over here, and over here they have buttons. You can just go to piano and you can click straight into piano. On this, you have to, if you're sitting at home, you got to be in the live set, go to category search, which is fine, piano, and then da-da-da. It'd be nice to have the external buttons over here. Regardless, this is still a $2,000 synthesizer. I know it's got an extremely good and probably expensive engine in it. I get that. But I don't know how much more it would have cost just to add in a few more buttons to get to the primary categories. I don't need them all. Just give me ones for the primary ones that you're going to use mostly. Give me ones for the piano, the keyboard, and probably the organ and strings. Give me 4, and I'm good to go. I don't need them for the entire set of instruments in here like they do have on the Montage. They did include these buttons here, and these are buttons here on the side. These will move through the sounds. Anyway, so you have a live set button over here, and this is what gets you to all your live sounds, because you can put in your sounds. It has the user pre-bank, so you can put in all the sounds after you make them in there. That is pretty cool. It has a performance on it, so it'll bring up the sound that you're looking at, and you can actually get into the file of the sound itself. I'm not getting into that. There's a bazillion videos on that. You have a utility button on it. Obviously, you can get into the volume, note shift, tune, the sustain pedal, transpose, all that. Edit button, store, shift. And that's about really it. It leaves off quite a bit between this and the Montage. One thing they did put on it, which I do like, is they give you an audition button. Now, the audition button, what do you need an audition button for? This gives you a sound, and then it lets you audition how they envision the sound to be used. And this is actually pretty cool. This is the CFX with an FM EP2. And that's actually pretty nice. And it does this for every single sound. If we go to category search, let's go to strings. We'll go to classical strings. So it does that for every sound, and that's actually pretty cool. They did leave that on here as opposed to the Montage. All right. So you got the super knob, like I said, to blend sounds. Here you have some control up here, pan, release, mid, your all your EQs up here. And you got to click through them by this button to click from one sound to the next. And you can see the button moving. And this is the button I'm clicking here. Tone, EQ and FX, EQ, and the arpeggio, so on and so on and so on. You adjust them by these 4 knobs right here. So they have that on there. They've cut all this down in half. Everything on this side is in half. You're missing a lot of buttons on here. You do not have the metal chassis. What you do have, however, now they are saying that this is a graded bed. Well, not graded. According to them, this is a piano. And you have to have the 88 key to get this. You have to have the 88 key to get the fully weighted. And then, like I said, I've read a couple of things, and I have not seen a MoDX 7, but I heard the 7, the keys are lighter, and then when you get to the 6, the keys are synth action, which I do not like. They have no weight to them at all. Now, how does this feel compared to the Montage? It feels to me exactly the same. So compared to my CP, I think my CP feels a little better on the keys. Those are actually graded off of the Yamaha 9-foot Concert, if I'm not mistaken, and it just has a different feel up here than it does up here. On my CP, the keys down here are very heavy. Up here, they're very light. And maybe I notice a little difference here, but nothing staggering. And actually, to me, they feel pretty much the same up here as they do up here. So these are obviously not graded keys. These are weighted keys, but they're fully weighted keys. And you only get that on the 88, from what I understand. But they are not graded. This does not feel as good as my CP300. Now, the key itself on it, the key bed, they put this veneer stuff on it. I got to be honest, I don't know what they put on this plastic stuff. And obviously, they're, you can't use ivory anymore, and nor should anybody ever use ivory again. When you first get them, they're very tacky and very sticky. Well, all keyboards you get do that simply because it's very clean. And your fingertips, obviously, they excrete oil. And because I heard people complain about it, well, it's very sticky and tacky feeling. Well, that's because you haven't played it enough. Once the oil gets on the key bed, which it will on any piano you play, then all of a sudden it's not sticky anymore. And actually it feels pretty good. It feels very similar to my CP300. One thing I did notice though, these keys have a little bit of a stiffer bed on it. I have a very bad habit of playing way up deep into the register, if you can see this here. On my C3P100 up here, I can hit those notes as hard as this. On this one, I can't. It's not graded, but they're actually a little stiffer than what's on my CP300, or maybe my CP is just broken in really, really well, but I cannot play as deep in the register here. Now I got to kind of come down here. So I'm having to kind of adjust because that feels unnatural for me right now, that moving down a couple of inches. But I did find that to be kind of odd how stiff those were hitting him up here in the top. All right, so here we go. Let's break this thing down. After tax, 21 and some change. The Montage, 43. Plastic, the Montage, metal. You have full control over this via the LCD screen, and half control on the keyboard itself. Now, the Montage is the same way, but you have a lot more control via the keyboard itself. So, now on this, I did hear a lot of people say that this is not very responsive. This does not work well. I don't know if it's been through updates. Mine's got the newest 2.5 update. Or maybe they were just, on drugs. Could have been that simple. Because this is insanely responsive. As soon as I touch it, it moves instantly. Now, you do have to touch directly on the sound bank itself. If you hit right in between, sometimes it may not fire. But this is insanely responsive. And you just got to tap it. It's as fast as my iPad. And I've heard many people complain about this, that it is not responsive. So that could be something that they fixed in an update. But this is crazy responsive. Now, I did have a concern that having this and not the other buttons to get to the sounds here, what if this was to burn out? Then all of a sudden, I don't have access to it. And I actually was reading this thing on the forums, and this guy actually made this, because I do a lot of reading before I buy anything. This guy actually made the statement, well, it's stupid because they don't have the pianos. If this thing burns out like it's going to burn out, then you don't have access to it. Well, but if you look at a Montage, if the screen burns out on the Montage, you're screwed anyway, because the buttons over here will give you access to the pianos. But that's going to be whatever piano pops up on here. This is not going to give you access to move through all the different pianos. This is going to take you to the piano section, the organ section, the keyboard section, if I'm not mistaken. But it doesn't have the layout of all the pianos here. It's just got like hot buttons to get you into categories. So if this burns out on either computer, on either keyboard, you're screwed regardless. So the odds of this burning out are pretty damn slim. I mean, they've got these things down to a science. I mean, I got the first gen iPad Pro. Besides the batteries getting weak, it works like a champ. It's just not going to burn out. So it was kind of a stupid thing. So that's something not to worry about. Having the external buttons are nice if you just need to jump to a piano section real quick to look for a sound instead of having to go in here, hit a button, then get in there. But is it worth $2,100 more dollars? Okay, to me, it wasn't, because I'd rather taken that $2,100, added another $1,000, and buy a Nord stage piano. I would rather do that. And then I got a piano with a true piano engine in it that sounds absolutely magnificent. The problem is nobody makes a great keyboard. Nobody makes one. It's like I did a video, and the ultimate guitar, and I said, do you ever notice that when you walk into a guitar store, they have every guitar in the world but the one that you want? Kind of the same thing when it comes to pianos and keyboards. I'm going to do a video on what I believe would be the ultimate guitar. And I really don't want to get into what I believe would be the ultimate piano, but I am going to summarize it right here because these are things that just kind of piss me off. The ultimate piano would be the sound of the Nord. The Nord piano section is just absolutely brilliant. I mean, brilliant. The problem is Nord's quality is not that great. I've heard lots of complaints of people who have gotten Nords, and I've seen tons of videos. I've read articles. The build quality is just not that great, not that reliable. And actually, one of the first things I did when I was looking at all this, because I was looking at the Nord Stage 3s, I watched a video of a guy on YouTube, and he said that he got one within 2 weeks. Two main things broke on it. So that kind of turned me off the Nord for that particular unit very fast. But to make the ultimate keyboard all around, is to take the Yamaha CP300 body, because that thing is a freaking tank. You could run that over with a car and it would still keep on rolling. That's why it's so damn heavy. Take the synth engine out of the Montage and the piano engine out of the Nord. Take the key bed off of my CP300. And then you would have the ultimate piano synth / It would be the ultimate thing. Nord falls short on A, quality, and B, their key beds. They're graded key beds. They're still not graded. And actually, they kind of suck. They feel like a heavy synth action, even on their piano. The CP300, their key bed is phenomenal. I love that key bed. This is a full weighted key, like you would find like on the old S80 or something like that. This is not a graded key bed. So there are compromises everywhere. And this is the same key bed that is on the Montage. So you're not losing or gaining anything there. Excuse me. And now I know I've done a lot of talking about this. I've gone through a lot of sounds, probably a lot more than I really wanted to get started. But if you've seen my guitar reviews, you know I kind of get into this stuff. So is it worth $2,100 more for the Montage? In my opinion, no. You do get access to a little more things via the keyboard. You do get a metal body instead of plastic. But if you're careful with your gear, that should never be a problem. Now, from what I understand is the Montage has metal jacks that you plug into. This has plastic jacks that you plug into. Looking at pictures, I didn't check one out, but looking at pictures, they both look exactly the same to me. So I'm assuming those could be metal black jacks, but metal jacks are usually silver in just about everything in the world. So maybe they've black anodized some jacks. I don't know. Plastic jacks should be okay as long as you don't do anything stupid. It should last. And per se, it doesn't work. Well, hell, I'll just crack this damn thing apart if it ever breaks, and I'll put metal jacks in it. Zero worried about that. But, let me turn this off because I do have, this is my caveat. All right. That's this compared to the Montage. The Montage has the built-in power supply thing. Pros and cons right here. I'm just going to break this down for you. This is the boot up time, as you can see from the light coming on. Booted. All right, that's not bad. I can't really argue with that because it's got a lot of stuff to boot up. Maybe a tick faster, but that's okay because I'm never going to have to turn it on and play instantly. So that's not bad. That's doable. But you know what? You can't have everything. Because, you know, let's be honest. We bitch about boot up times all the time. You know, the computers from the old, 8086s and stuff. Oh, they took them years to boot up. Now they boot up in 5 seconds, and it's still not fast enough. So let's be honest. So that's okay. So the boot up time's good. So that's a pro. It does not have full controls on it, but it has enough controls to do everything you need. So to me, that's not really a pro nor a con. It's kind of in the middle. Nicer to have more stuff on the Montage, but it's got what you need. And at the end of the day, that's all the hell you need. The screen is the same screen that's in the Montage. That's a pro. The plastic body. This could be a pro or a con, depending on how you're looking at it. Would I like a metal body? Yeah. Why? Because metal's more durable. Let's be honest. You drop a metal body, chances are your stuff's going to be okay. You drop a plastic one, you may have some issues. But with metal comes weight. If you are a gigging musician, let me tell you, carrying that stuff around, that's why I play with a Fractal now. I carried around a full stack Marshall JVM forever, and I was done with that. I'm done. Tired of carrying this shit around. And that's what happened with my CP300. It just got too heavy. So with the plastic body and the fewer controls and stuff, well, you're a little over 30 pounds. I think it's 32. I'd have to actually check it out, but it's right at 30 pounds, and it's insanely light. You are not doing this to my CP300. It weighs a freaking ton. So this is insanely light. So the plastic body could be a pro or a con. The key bed is weighted. That is a pro. Fully weighted, 88 keys. The con is it is not graded. That is a con to me. That is a big con. When you're getting into $2,000, I'm sorry. And in an 88 key piano, if you are not grading your keys, then you're making a huge mistake. Another con, the volume knob should be a slider. Granted, you do have control over your sounds here, but I still want my master to be a slider and get it out of the way of these two knobs. This should be over by itself. I mentioned the plastic jacks in the back. All of them are plastic. Of course, the USBs are metal, of course, because you slide those in and out. So there's really not that many cons to it, depending on what you're looking for. It has the full engine from the Montage, minus the FM side only has 64 polyphony, something I'm never going to notice anyway. I do not need 128 polyphony on the FM side. And then on the AMW side, AWM side, whatever the hell it's called, you have 128 note polyphony on that side. So I'm never going to notice that. You can layer 8 sounds on this. You can layer 8 sounds on the Montage. You have all the controls of them. But here is my big bitch. There's a couple things Yamaha should have done, could have done, and had they called me, if I could find the damn off and on button, had they called me, I would have set them straight, but they did not call me, and that kind of pisses me off. So Yamaha, if you ever see this, before you design something else, call me, please, because I'm not an engineer, so I know what people like to use. So probably a better idea to do a, kind of like when Jeep made the new Jeeps, the JLs, they sent all this stuff out to everybody and said, what would you like to see in the Jeep? Then they took all that, compiled it, and they said, okay, this is what people want to see in the Jeep. Well, these are things people want to see in your keyboards too, but this is my one caveat. This is what pisses me off. For $19.99, here's the power cord. This, to me, is inexcusable. All pro gear in the world uses a 3-prong power cord in the back. And let's face it, if you're a gigging musician, you probably got 90 of those cords laying around, and the power supply is built into the unit. On this, for $2,000, you don't get a power supply. You get an adapter. The power supply is a wall wart. That bothers me. That is the big con on this over everything else, is they really dropped the ball on this. I'm sorry, for $2,000, you can put the damn power supply inside the unit and give me a professional grade plug, not some stupid wall wart that is going to take up place on my board, on my power conditioner. And the way my power conditioner is sitting in my rack, I don't even know if I can get that on my power conditioner. So now I'm going to have to buy a little extension cord, which is fine, to plug that into that to get this into my power conditioner. The point is, for $2,000, nothing should ever come with a power supply for $2,000. This is a huge fail. This is the one big fail on my part. This is one of the main reasons I actually considered the Montage, was because of this. That irks me to no end. You get these little cheap-ass cables that come on here, and these things bend, they break. You get these cheap-ass power supplies on the end of it instead of the professional ones that they actually put inside the unit. I understand they wanted to get this below the $2,000 price point at $1,999.99. Give me a break. Tell you what, Yamaha, instead of thinking that everybody just wants to be so cheap, I'll take your plastic frame to save weight and to save money. I get that. You did give me the weighted key bed. I appreciate that. You gave me the full synth engine, even though you did cut out 64 the polyphony on the FM engine. That's okay. I'm not going to notice that. You gave me just enough controls to do everything I need to do externally, plus full control on side my little pad here. That's cool. I can dig that. You took away my slider knob and gave me a twist volume knob. That is a fail. That is a fail. But you gave me a power supply. I mean, a power supply. A plug-in-the-wall, wall wart power supply. That is a fail. That is a big no-no. The rest of it I can deal with. I can even deal with the plastic jacks, because apparently a lot of things come with plastic jacks today. And let's be honest, plastic's pretty damn tough. I'm zero worried about that. If one of them shits out, I'll put a steel jack in it. Problem solved. This is unexcusable. Giving me a power supply, a wall wart, that is unexcusable for $2,000. Tell you what, I'll make this easy on you, Yamaha. Instead of charging $1,999, why don't you charge me $2,099? I will gladly give you the other $100 to put the correct power supply inside the unit and not give me this shit. Because that's what this is. This is shit. Give me professional stuff. Because even though this is plastic and I have the controls, this is still a very professional keyboard. If you don't believe me, go check one out and play it. The sounds in this thing are astounding. Even the pianos, even though they do not have a piano engine, they're still pretty damn good. This is an extremely powerful unit. This is 100% professional in every single way. The little brother to the Montage with pretty much the same power, except for this. That is where Yamaha failed on this board. So, is that worth paying an extra $2,100 to get that? It's not. Obviously, it wasn't to me, or I would have bought the Montage. Am I going to create a video and bitch about it? You're damn right I am. I hate that. I absolutely hate that. It's still $2,000. I could have bought a lot of different instruments for $2,000. I chose this. The least you can do is give me an internal power supply and not give me a freaking wall wart. That's the least you could do. So I am going to wrap that up right there, because this is a hell of a lot longer than I actually wanted it to be, but it's a synth and there's just so much to cover on this. And trust me, I just scratched the surface. I didn't get into maybe 3% of this is what we went over. And that's literally about it. So, but I did want to do one, kind of give an idea of what it is. Like I said, if you want to see sounds, there's a million videos with sounds in it. If you want more in-depth tutorials, you can either comment to me and ask me a question, or I can pretty much assure you it's probably already on YouTube. This has been out for a few years. This is not new. So you can probably find just about anything you want. But I wanted to do a pros and cons, because I really haven't found a lot of pros and cons, or a lot of direct comparisons between this and the Montage. So I kind of wanted to do that video in case anybody was thinking about buying this, because these are still very current right now. And so we're going to wrap this up right there. If you get a chance to check one out, check it out. I think you would like it. Well, like I said, would I pay the extra $2,100 for the Montage? Obviously not, because I bought the MoDX. I bought the MoDX 8, so obviously I would not. I love 88 keys. The 76 and the 61 was not an option for me. So I'm going to wrap it up right there. And until the next video comes out, whatever that may be, because I got a list a mile high long, and I'm just trying to chop through things the best that I can. Until the next video, no matter what instrument you're playing, play to the best of your ability and practice, 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 practice. And subscribe to the channel. I've got a very bad habit of not saying that. I should have said at the beginning. Subscribe to the channel. Check out my Patreon page. I'm going to start putting up links to all that. I'm setting up a new Facebook. I've got my Instagram out. And click the bell on the channel. A lot of things happening in my world. Unfortunately, too many. It's hard for me to keep track and get all this stuff done. So, but please subscribe to the channel. Do not forget the Trace Taylor Great Guitar giveaway. We still got a long way to go, but we still got a lot of time to get there. So do not forget that. There is a video on my channel on the Trace Taylor Great Guitar giveaway. I'll put a link down in the description instead of these little goofy-ass things that pop up above my head. I'll put a link down in the description. And until the next video, like the great Sammy Hagar says, if you miss the beat, you lose the rhythm and nothing falls into place. Until the next time, practice your instrument. Have a great time playing. Be good to each other, as Bill and Ted would say, and rock on.